Views, views, views. How to get views. Oh, right. I know people love those seasonal reaction videos, and winter's just starting up. That's what I'll do. Wait, no, those don't age well. They pretty much lose all value once you're deep in the season. I know. How about we look at a season that's actually finished? That's right! Exactly 30 years ago, anime in winter of 1989. This was my friend Manload's idea, and he's gonna help bear the burden too, seeing as there's so much stuff to finish here. I'm obviously not going to be talking about sequels and prequels, so those are out, and also if I literally can't find any info at all on it outside of its basic mal listing, I'll leave it out too. This isn't meant to be comprehensive by any means, just a lighthearted look at the anime of years gone by. Jinpui. After searching for a bit, I finally found a subtitled torrent for download of the first episode. Unfortunately, it seems the group that translated it didn't keep going with it after the first one. I did happen to find a whole bunch of full and partial uploads in Hindi though, so I get the impression the show was pretty popular over there. Also, a panty shot compilation for this kids show. Cool. Thankfully, finding unsubtitled episodes was much less of a hassle. This show is an anime adaptation of a manga by Doraemon creator Fujio F. Fujiko that ran for 56 episodes from 89 to 91. Each of the 24-minute episodes is divided into 2 equal-length segments. Though it's unsubbed, the language was simple enough that most of it came across fairly clearly. The story follows the young girl Eri and the sudden appearance of aliens that resemble animals with mysterious powers. One of those aliens that ends up sticking around with Eri is Jinpui. Based on what I watched of it, the show follows various daily antics with Jinpui using his powers in one way or another to aid Eri. Honestly, it was really nice. The visuals are pleasing and actually quite well animated. The main girl's cute and I like her voice actress. Just the general feel and pacing of the show is quite compelling. It reminded me in some ways of my experience with Cardcaptor Sakura, and it makes me wish I were adept enough to sub the show myself. Apparently there was a Disney Channel Asia English dub of it in 2012, but the only remaining remnant of its existence seems to be some promo videos and the opening theme.
Out of the blue, he appeared to me in my room. Bim, 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 sent on a mission by his prince to our earth. Jinpui.
It was pretty enjoyable, but again, it's unsubbed. However, if you have a decent understanding of Japanese, then I would definitely recommend checking it out. Data number 6. This is an 8-minute music video by Studio Gainax. Usually in my general seasonal viewing, I don't bother with music videos because they're so short, but this one was on the longer end and by Gainax, so it piqued my interest. The sketchy rotoscoping inevitably calls Take On Me to mind, but that is an infinitely better music video than this one. This one is just kinda random, trippy visuals and rotoscoped animation. There's nothing particularly impressive here, and it doesn't make much attempt at all to tell a story, even though it definitely had the runtime to do so. So it ultimately is a passable visual accompaniment, but not really anything I'd recommend or seek out for repeat viewing. The song's alright though. Hikaru Genji, Paradise Ginga. Another music video. Somehow, despite being half the length of the previous one, it feels twice as long. I thought I'd be down for this one, but after hearing the dude's voices, it got grating pretty quick. There is something happening visually, at least. Some same-faced pretty boys skating through space, and stuff. It doesn't make much sense, but I mean, do most music videos? Jushin Liger. Alright, here's an actual anime. Jushin Liger, of which it seems only 33 episodes have been translated thus far. That's fine though, cause I only made it through the first one. It definitely seems like a solid show if you're looking for a Saturday morning cartoonesque experience that's willing to be slightly darker, with plenty of explicit deaths and some moderately gory monster takedowns. But I found my interest waning during the extended battle scene due to a lack of particular investment in any of the cast. Our MC Ken is kind of a brat, and though I imagine we'll follow his transition into a true man, the show doesn't give you much else to latch on to that makes it particularly engaging or entertaining as an experience. Also, after gaining a special tiger sign on his wrist after an ominous dream, he somehow at the most important moment suddenly knows exactly how to summon and operate it with no question, surprise, or confusion. A nitpick, I know, but it raised an eyebrow on my part. Well, here's another one that I couldn't find anywhere. Seems like that's a shame though, considering the high praise in its singular mal review. What I can say, what I can leave, it's marvel from beautiful time. My salivary grinding, why don't grinding, and the art and animation from other world. I want all you watch it. You can say for any anime it's good, but critic like me choose carefully. And Rokan, I want to forget and watch it 1,000 times. Say him, what do you want? But you don't change my idea. The author is Palki. I want take the review for knobbed eyes. Helpful and I will love you. I don't use Google Translate. I did manage to find a torrent of the compilation OVAs unsubbed, but yet again no one was seeding, so that's an unfruitful endeavor. It kinda sucks cause the only footage I managed to find was a couple of the show's OPs and EDs and an old anime OP-ED compilation on Dailymotion, and I dig what I've heard of this so far. I want more. The OP also bizarrely reminds me of the piece the robber Penguin plays on his radio in that one Wallace and Gromit short, which I just now discovered is an instrumental version of a fairly well-known song called Tie a Yellow Ribbon Round Old Oak Tree. Man, I'm just learning so much important information today, huh? It was at this point the idiot I am remembered to search with the Japanese characters, with which I found full versions of the OP and EDs, as well as some clips from the show itself. It seems to be some sort of educational show for children with live-action segments at the beginning and ending, but I can't say too much else about it as it's heavily dialogue-focused and a lot of it went over my head. I do really like the main girl's character design though. It's been my Twitter avatar for a few weeks, cause she's just so cute. I like it a lot. Obochama-kun. Another show that seems to have been aired in Hindi but no luck for English subtitles. An English search met me with a video titled Obochama-kun 1 that was almost 2 hours long. However, doing a Japanese one met me with what seems more likely to be the actual first episode. Unexpectedly, I understood quite a bit of this. Not only is it pretty blatant visually with what's happening, but it also uses extremely simple Japanese, so I recognized a lot of words and was able to piece together what I didn't understand with context. It's basically a zany comedy with really crass humor centered on the entry of the bizarre Obochama to a new elite school with an extremely strict teacher. He quickly clashes with the teacher but also ends up befriending the boy. I'll call him Boy because I didn't catch his name and I don't want to go back through and try and find the one spot where he mentions it because he didn't get called by the name very often or I would have remembered it. To give you an idea of this show's humor, when he proposes friendship with Obochama, he says Tomodachi, which means friend, and extends his hand. Obochama responds by grabbing his hand and putting it on his crotch, saying Tomodachinko, a portmanteau of Tomodachi, friend, and chinko, which means penis. To be honest, as stupid as the show was, It did have me chuckling here and there, probably exactly for how stupid it was, though I might have been more engaged simply because I was translating in my head simultaneously. Honestly, I wouldn't mind watching another episode or two. It's dumb and goofy with an inoffensive aesthetic, and it definitely is a bit of a culture shock seeing an obvious kids show have full nudity and be so blatant with sexual references, compared to the insane limitations on children's entertainment here in the West. Whew, that was a lot of anime. I think I'm gonna need some help.
Watching a video of me shooting Brock Lesnar in the fucking hand.
Passing it off to you, man mode.
Okay, real quick. This one is a late addition to the video because it technically didn't start airing in winter 1989. The first 3 episodes came out just before that, but it's too big to ignore. This is an OVA series that everyone knows. An OVA series that a few that have watched all 110 episodes of claimed is the best this industry has to offer. An OVA series that will forever be on everyone's plan to watch list, but not on mine anymore. Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Look, I can't say much, having only watched the first 6 episodes, but here's my 2 cents. The start is solid. I like the characters, I like the politics, and I totally see it becoming something really special. It's setting up an epic story of galactic proportions, and I'm looking forward to slowly spending time with it over the coming year. Now let's move on to other movies and OVAs.
Let's go!
Himitsu no Ako-chan, or Secret Little Ako. Himitsu means secret. I learned that from this movie. Hey, let me tell you a secret. I wanted to watch this because it has the name of my daughter in the title. You know what's not a secret though? Both my daughter and her grandma are cute. This is a really great, wholesome story about kids wanting to preserve their only playground they have left in a booming economy where every adult is claiming every green spot to put grey buildings on. It's about convincing adults that places like this are important for children. Himitsu no Ako-chan manga came out in 1962 and is regarded as first magical girl manga. The anime adaptation started airing in 1969 with its 94-episode TV broadcast, so if you want to dip your toe into this nice piece of history, this 25-minute movie is really nice on its own and great for getting a feel and seeing what Himitsu no Ako-chan was all about. Highly recommend. Cybernetics Guardian is an OVA that takes place in 2019. The future is now. Here's the deal with this one. Subtitles are awful, and so is the dub. But the subtitles confuse me, while the dub in combo with this kick-ass soundtrack that you're hearing right now adds much more appreciated 80s cheese to this.
Headed straight downtown into cancer.
Let's be real, this OVA is dumb and boring. It's about this guy John who accidentally transforms into Saldo, a mythical cyber beast fueled by hate and evil.
Cancer is where John was born.
The only good things about it come from it being an 80s OVA. Cool music, cheesy acting, and jaw-dropping animation in a few places. Other than that, dog shit.
You son of a...
It's similar with 5-star stories. It's not that the story is awful here, it's just that it feels like a start to a giant space opera, and that's exactly what it is. The manga is still coming out to this day. It's really pretty, even the boys look pretty, so pretty I wanna... Look my dude, you're probably not going to care about the story, but it really does look great, and it has the best piece of mecha Sakuga I've ever seen. No, be patient, I'm gonna get to it. Goku Midnight Eye is stupid and stupidly fun. Definitely do judge this one by its cover. It's about a detective with a tie, unbuttoned shirt, and a mechanical eye that can hack every computer on the planet, kicking ass to standard 80s music in a standard 80s vision of future neon-lit Tokyo night. Badass guy versus evil guy, that's the plot. Awesome action, that's the genre, and it's set to great music and 10 out of 10 imagery. This OVA is cool, go watch it. What you're hearing right now is the soundtrack of Venus Wars. soundtrack composed by Joe Hisaishi. Did you know that? This was a very nothing movie. I like political anime. This anime has politics. There's a war, but even if you care as much as I do, you're not going to care. And if you don't, you're going to hate it. This reporter is cute, but she's nothing and unlikable. This other girl is hot, but she's nothing. I like her though. Cute poem I just made up right there. I mean, the movie looks fucking great. Like, I find myself asking this question all the time. What happened? There just isn't much story to get into, unlike the things we're getting nowadays, honestly. So I ask, what happened? Ironically, the Cute Girl show had the most substance out of these 5 movies/OVAs I watched. There's a common theme going through most of these though. Style over substance. And if you think style is substance, I made something that will give you all the style you need and save you the time.
レッツゴー
Into Cancer.
That reported party, all units go to condition 2.
Peter Pan no Boken, an animated adaptation of the classic novel. I can't say how accurate it is to the book itself as I haven't read it, but it seems to be following all the main story beats so far compared to the other adaptations I've seen. I only watched the first episode, which precedes them actually getting to Neverland, with a foreshadowing dream sequence and their finding Peter's shadow, but it's another case of something I would have happily watched as a kid, but doesn't quite hold up to my standards now. The dialogue is pretty dry, especially in one scene where they are really trying to hit on the whole growing up angle. The visuals are fine, but not impressive, and probably worst of all to my picky self, I am not a fan of these character designs at all. Wendy, particularly in profile view, looks like her face is too small for her head, and Peter Pan's design is straight up creepy. Those lips, man, those lips. One interesting thing about the series is that apparently the voice actor for Peter Pan, Noriko Hidaka, has had some really iconic roles. The main girl in My Neighbor Totoro, Minami in Touch, Akane in Ranma 1/2, Kikyo in Inuyasha, Noriko in Gunbuster, and a bunch more. What do I expect you to do with this information? Absolutely nothing, but it's neat, isn't it? Right? Transformers Victory. Do you like Transformers? Yes? You'll probably like this. Do you not like Transformers? Yes? Then this probably isn't for you. Next. Cypher. Oh boy, Cypher is something else. And if you want to hear all about it, you can listen to the 40-minute podcast I did with Caribou-kun talking about it way back in March. Or you could just watch the OVA itself, it's 40 minutes long. An incredibly strange amalgamation of elements with a classic MTV music video flair, it's an experience I strongly recommend going in blind to. Kyomu Senshi Miroku. Kyomu Senshi Miroku is alright. I definitely got some enjoyment out of it for the insane hyper-violent fantasy experience it is, and if you go into it expecting that much and not much more, it'll probably be a good time. It's competently directed, the soundtrack does its job, the visuals were fairly solid. In those departments it does okay. However, if you're trying to actually get deep into the story and characters, you likely won't get too far. Out of all our quirky side characters, it's the dull, serious boy that the show decides to focus on. The one female team member not only is mostly useless and ends up being just a damsel in distress, but her power is also lame and boring, and the relationship between her and the MC seems only there because she's the female protagonist and he's the main character. There's no characterization or moments where we get to know much about them or who they are. Nah, it just needs some quick dramatic tension and a way for the bad guys to one-up the main character, since he's pretty much unstoppable in a one-on-one. I do like stuff here and there. Some of the magical powers are interesting, and I kinda enjoy how cowardly and pathetic the villains are, and it certainly doesn't hesitate to kill off characters, good or bad. So it could be a fun afternoon, but I think there's definitely better shows if you're looking for something in this vein. Writing Bean. Writing Bean is genuinely fantastic. I went in expecting your typical over-the-top sex and violence affair, which can be fun but tend to fail when it comes to actually getting me invested. What I got was the R-rated Miyazaki movie I never knew I wanted. Writing Bean is a 40-minute OVA that follows our titular Bean Bandit and his partner Irene Vincent. Bean's famous for his driving skills and he'll deliver anything, people or packages, for a price. This escapade follows him getting swept up in the kidnapping of the mayor's daughter, and framed for a crime he didn't commit. Usually I don't care about spoilers, but I think the moment-to-moment reveals makes this film even more fun, though I can't say an apt eye wouldn't catch any of them well beforehand. What I love so much about this OVA is specifically how it balances tone. Bean is smug and smarmy, the epitome of a bad guy with a heart of gold, and the way it plays up his character depending on the situation is incredibly entertaining. For instance, a subplot that runs throughout is that of a detective named Percy who is obsessed with catching Bean. And of course they happen to meet right as the detective is stepping outside of his car and Bean is driving past, which results in the amazing following scene. The thing is, it's not just funny. The suspense captured my attention equally, and it's the constant juxtaposition of those two tones that makes it so engaging. There are points where Bean isn't funny anymore, where he's seriously analyzing the situation, or when pushed a step too far, we see him as the genuinely fearful creature that he is with his great strength. His partner too is compelling. It's real nice to have a female partner that seems like they could actually be this person's partner. Perhaps she's not quite at the skill level of Bean, but she most definitely is capable, having her own moment to shine, and never is made out to be any kind of damsel in distress, nor an expected love interest simply because Bean is male and a protagonist, and she is female and also a protagonist. Pulling us back to the suspense, the main figures in opposition to our mains are Semmerling and the young girl, Carrie. Semmerling is emotionally abusive to Carrie in a way that keeps her deeply reliant on her, and it is genuinely unpleasant to watch, but effectively characterizes Semmerling as an ominous figure, and one you want to see beaten by way of a method that is unfortunately all too believable. And the aspect of Carrie's naive affection for her adds a twinge of sadness to it, an emotional nuance. The times when the action stops for a brief rest, a moment of humanity, or when all the gravity is pulled away at the drop of a hat as we realize how comical the situation is, only for the tension to return once again at full force, it's just fantastic through and through. Add to all that the fact that this film just looks and feels great to watch. The car chases and gunfights are visceral and gripping, just the right amount of over the top to not pull you out of it while elevating it to be a greater spectacle. It plays its length perfectly, and there wasn't a second I wasn't invested. Just don't watch the dub.
Special thank you to Man Mode for his contribution to this video. It wouldn't be the same without him. Be sure to check him out. Link to his channel in the description and on screen right now. He does great videos. If you enjoyed this video, share it around. It's not really ideal for the algorithm, so without shares this video is going to be pretty much dead in the water. If you want to support what I do, you can do so on Patreon at patreon.com/KoreReviews. Special thank you to my patrons Talon and Bogus. Anyways, with all that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.